known earlier, imagine what I could have accomplished. Sorry, I thought you knew. So I guess you're not going to do anything today. The weather is even good. Yesterday it was really windy, so I thought today it would be cold. It's not though, so there's no reason to just stay inside. Yeah, you should check the festival out. Kenji groans and covers his face with his hands. No, I can't do it. They'll eat me alive out there, I know it. That has to be a joke, but he said it with such a straight face, relatively straight. Okay, out of the loop. I'm pretty sure that always plays when Kenji's doing something. What are you going to do? We should hang out in here. You can help me build my fort. We might still make it if we work together. I don't know. I'm pretty hungry, so I thought I'd get some food first and then check out the attractions. Your class project seemed pretty cool, and I gave a hand with it. So I want to see at least that one and chat with Lily, I guess. Speaking of that, don't you have any obligation for the project? Are you out of your mind? That blind broad is up to no good. I can feel it in my spleen, man. Her presence is like a dark shadow that's in the way of my great vision. As expected of blind people. What? Besides, I thought you were also... He holds up his hand to interrupt me. Only legally. Metaphorically, I can see farther than any man before me has seen. Kenji looks stoically into the metaphorical distance to emphasize his statement, thrusting his chin forward to look manlier. Actually, it's just a corridor wall 2 meters away, but it's all the same. I can see the future of mankind, and it's a dark one unless the threat of women is stifled. They are everywhere. He fingers his scarf nervously, faster and faster, like he's trying to start a fire. Then he slowly begins to calm down once the panic attack finishes running its course. I'm gonna have to find some place to hide in, a safe haven, and then knock the lights out of myself so that I don't have to experience this horrible day. I have the perfect thing for that. I must prepare now. Don't go to the festival. Okay. Later, dude. I'm gonna go to the festival, by the way. The door slowly closes with a low creak, and I don't know how to feel about what Kenji just said. But I know I'm not gonna listen. After buying a plastic plate of takoyaki from a stall belonging to the class next to ours, I take a seat in the school gardens and watch people pass as I tentatively nibble away at the rather bland-tasting item. I guess I shouldn't complain. It's better than nothing, and it didn't cost much. As I look out towards the school, watching the people coming and going proves a surprisingly entertaining way of passing the time as I eat. Little children accompanied by parents or grandparents scamper in the din from event to event, one hand dragging their company and the other bearing an oversized colorful snack. I can't help but notice the age range among the people here is skewed towards the elderly, something that I also noticed when I was walking around town. This must be one of those towns where the only people left are those that lived here their whole lives and ardently refused to leave, and those wanting to live out of the rest of their days in one of the increasingly few tranquil places. I guess that also goes a way of explaining how conservative Yamaku's school culture seems to be. Not that I mind one bit. I kind of like how calm Yamaku and his surroundings are. The heat, though, is another matter entirely. Sitting in one place for so long has focused my mind on how annoyingly humid it's getting, now that the hottest part of the day is here. Gah, I didn't even get to read what was there before. The sound of the Carillon bells takes me completely by surprise as I stand up, a reaction shared by a few of the people strolling around as well. The PA system crackles to life after the tolling bells end. Its age shows as the principal makes his barely intelligible announcement over it, officially opening the festival that's very much in full swing. It's quite amusing to contrast the pleasant smiles of the older folk against the alternatively pained and bored grimaces of their younger charges. The students, on the other hand, seem to pay it little heed. Nevertheless, the address finally ends. All are united in polite, if not overly enthusiastic applause, and then get back to business. Slipping a hand into my pocket to look as relaxed as possible, I casually glance around for something to do. It's somewhat difficult to see very far with all the people around. I decide to fall back on a tried and trusted rule: go where everyone else seems to be gathering. Right now, that's the school courtyard and surroundings. Throwing the used plate into a trash can, I make my way towards the school building. Seeing the number of stalls around the perimeter of the school building surprises me. Quite a few of the classes must have opted to have multiple stalls. I cannot read. In deciding which to visit first, I catch sight of a familiar banner with a blue pattern border and red text. Lily's stall is as good a place as any to start. Read that wrong. I'm curious as to how it's going after all of the work she and her class have been doing for it. I did that. One of those. I'll just say it was that one. Coca-Cola. Lots of soda. Corn dogs. Oh, do they have snow cones? I'll take one of those. Looks like that's the dive for snow cones. Stepping up to it, I begin to see why the class took so long to organize everything. Easily twice as wide as many of the other stalls, and with equipment for cooking strewn everywhere, it's closer to an outdoor restaurant than a festival event. As a student in front of me takes a bowl of noodles and leaves, I walk up to the counter. The girl behind it seems quite exasperated and asks me to wait a moment before she disappears underneath the counter. Seizing the moment, I take a quick glance around. Steam seems to be rising from everywhere as pots and pans simmer away. The most blind of the students are unpacking the ingredients, which, while being helped by someone who is probably the teacher of 3-2. It doesn't take long to notice Lily among them, talking with the teacher as she quickly counts out the boxes and packets with her fingers. From her expression and the fact that both she and the teacher seem to be in a state of mild confusion, it appears that there's been some problem in coordination. Before I can stare any longer, the girl behind the counter pops up again, only to look back and ask where the spare change box is. Lily pauses for a moment before she and the girl switch places at the counter, and the teacher quickly walks off somewhere. Sorry about that, we're having a few problems. What would you like? It takes me a second to remember what I'd come here for. My eyes quickly dart to the side to read the menu sitting on the counter. I'm yelling already, and I gotta stay up for like 6 more hours. Uh-oh. I guess... Not uh-oh. Oh, I guess some miso soup? Is that Hisao? Yep, looks like you're pretty busy. Hisao, offer to help. Her face all but confirms it as she drops her waitress facade. Somewhere along the line, our order got mixed up. We're trying to fix it now, but it looks like we only have half of what we need. Dead. Wouldn't serving smaller portions cover up the problem? Seems like that's what we'll have to do, though I wish we didn't. The fact that a good half of the class is gone doesn't help either. I glance behind her to see how many people are actually operating the stall. It couldn't be over about 8. I take it that's why your teacher left? That's right, she's gonna try and round up a few more of our classmates to help. Hearing the sound of footsteps behind me, I stealthily glance backwards to see an elderly couple taking a place in line. I guess I'd better stop loitering around and chatting. Here's the money for the soup. Soup, oh right, coming right up. Lily turns and calls for a bowl of miso soup as I hand over the money for it. Taking the coins in her palm, I can't help but notice how efficiently she counts them out with her long pale fingers. Eventually satisfied that I've handed over correct change, she puts it into a small metal tray. It isn't long before the soup is made and carefully handed to her, after which she turns and subsequently passes it to me. Thanks, I'll come back to drop off the bowl. Thank you, Hisao. Oh, there's one other thing. Have you seen Hanako? Hanako? No, not today. Why? She gives a small sigh of abject disappointment. It's okay, I was just wondering what she was doing for the festival. You'll come back when you're done then? Sure, I'll keep an eye out for Hanako too. Thank you, Hisao. This sounds exactly like... I'm pretty sure it's the exact same as what I was doing trying to... on Hanako's path. So I hope I chose the right one and just didn't waste like 30 minutes-ish? I think a bit over 30 minutes. I walk off behind I walk off from the stall and find a seat, carefully cradling a steaming wooden bowl in both hands. Compared to the dumplings from before, this is quite nice. A little cool compared to what it probably should be, perhaps, but the flavor is strong enough to cover that for reasonably well. As I drink, I can't help but feel somewhat guilty for not being as involved in the festival as the others. It can't really be helped considering I was dropped into school only a week ago, but it still weighs heavily on my mind. That and the fact that a few students don't really seem to be enjoying the festival as much as the visitors. Eventually I finish my bowl and leave for the stall to drop it off. Considering that there seems to be no line at all, I take my time walking up. It seems the teacher's mission paid off. There are now over a dozen students helping and much of the unpacking has been done. Despite most of them seeming quite relaxed as they work, Lily still appears to be somewhat stressed. Right, I know what I'll do. Even if it's just one person, I'll make the festival more enjoyable for her. Okay, here we go. As I place the bowl on the counter, I call out to Lily. Ah, Hisao, you brought it back? Yeah, here. I slide it into her hands and she takes it over to someone who is apparently on cleaning duty. Considering that I didn't seem to see them here before is probably a penalty for their tardiness. Hey, Lily. She perks up and returns to the counter as she hears my voice again, realizing that I'm still here. Wanna go see some more of the festival? That's not a face I've seen. She puffs her cheeks disapprovingly. It looks kind of cute and in complete contradiction to her usually reserved nature. It takes a few seconds for me to get what she's taking issues with. Whoops. Did I say see? Yeah, I did. I want to go see more of the festival. I didn't mean to. Lily giggles at me, exposing her teasing for what it is. You're still not used to the school, are you? She got me. Still, I kind of need to stay with our stall. It's taken until just now to get everything unpacked. I guess her reluctance shouldn't overly surprise me, considering how much work she's put into this. Everything seems to be running fine now, though. Besides, you've got extra help on hand anyway. A boy in the middle of cooking some soba noodles turns towards us, grinning. Go on, Lils, you've earned yourself a break. We can hold down the fort for now. If you say that it's okay, then I suppose so. But if you need any help, then we'll call you. Go on, we'll be fine. Lily finally gives up her resistance as he waves the spatula at her. She feels her way around the back of the stall and picks up her cane on the way. I guess the first thing we should do is look for Hanako. Lily seems kind of worried about her, and I doubt she'd be the kind of person to enjoy milling about in crowds like this all alone. So I guess we should search for Hanako. Where to first? Both of us go quiet for a moment to think. Maybe she's in her dorm room. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to go, so I am going to create a new save state, and come back later on.